When searching for information to support academic papers and projects, the web can be a goldmine. But on the web, not all that glitters is gold. As students, it's important for us to learn to ask key questions about the information we encounter. Briefly, let's look at a helpful strategy for evaluating web sources of information. As we dig up information on the web, we can evaluate what we find by asking 6 critical questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. First, who authored the information? Who published it? Was it written by a known scholar? Is it published by a university or government site? Information published by .edu and .gov sites tends to be more authoritative and reliable, since universities and government institutions have more at stake if misinformation is published. Information discovered at commercial.com or at an organization's site.org doesn't necessarily have the same authority and reliability as .edu or .gov sites, simply because of the possibility for bias. However, many news sites are .com. .org sites can be both authoritative and reliable, and .edu sites can also belong to K-12 schools. So, it's important to keep asking questions as we evaluate web sources. So we can also ask, what is this web source trying to do? In other words, what is its purpose? Websites are created for a number of purposes: to inform, persuade, sell a product, present an opinion, report research, etc. As critical thinkers, it's important to identify the purpose of the information we encounter and then match that purpose with our information needs. For example, if for my project I need robust, high-level discussion of Charlie Chaplin and his films that engage issues of social class, delving deeply into the topic of Chaplin and social class isn't the purpose of his official website. But if I construct my search like this, by Googling sites:.edu, Charlie Chaplin and social class, I discover academic sites whose purpose is to explore this topic in greater detail. The purpose of these sites better matches the needs of my project. Next, we need to ask questions about the timeliness and currency of a web resource. When was this information published? Is the information out of date? Historical information tends to have a longer shelf life on the web, but for information about current events, social issues, new trends, or ideas in the sciences or medicine, the timeliness and currency of such information is important to consider. Date of publication can often be located at the bottom of a web page. However, sometimes a publication date is not provided. So in either case, it's important to keep asking questions as we evaluate information discovered on the web. Which leads to a fourth question: where does this information direct me? In other words, does it contain links to citations that support, inform, or verify its claims and assertions? Does it provide a bibliography of authoritative and reliable sources to which I can turn for further study? Higher-level sources often direct readers to books, articles, and other helpful resources. But also notice that the Wikipedia page on Charlie Chaplin, for example, offers extensive footnoting and provides a robust list of sources that inform this article. Now, be sure to check with your instructor about the appropriateness of citing Wikipedia in your project, and pay attention to whether or not a web resource you find clearly shows where its information is sourced. A fifth question to ask is simply, why use this information? Googling is easy. Enter your search terms and Google fetches results. But academic research is often sweaty business like panning for gold until you discover the best resources to support your project. So it's important for us as students to be self-critical. Why use this information? Might I find something more authoritative or more relevant to my topic with a bit more digging? Maybe by using a different set of search terms or by refining my search for better clarity? Wikipedia gives me a good start, but can I go deeper by tracking down citations for further research? A little bit of time investment and good search strategies on the web can yield golden results. Finally, when evaluating a web resource, it's also important to consider, how will I use this information? Here, it's important to keep your thesis in mind. If you need information to support and argue your thesis, then such information is better coming from authoritative, reliable sources like a .edu or a .gov. Statistics, for example, can be used to provide evidence for your argument. Such statistics should come from a weighty source, like a .gov. However, if you need information that illustrates your thesis, such information might come from a wider array of sources. Well, for example, I might survey the way popular blogs of film critics discuss Chaplin's transition from silent films to talkies, but I'll use such blogs to illustrate rather than argue my thesis. For the argument, my evidence likely needs to come from weightier sources. So keep in mind that while the web can be a gold mine, not all that glitters is gold. To evaluate web sources, we students can learn to ask key questions about the information we encounter on the web. Remember to ask, who wrote it? What's its purpose? When was it written? Where does it direct me through citations? Why use this particular source? And how will I use this information? Such questions help us critically engage the information we encounter on the web and separate gold from glitter.